Okay, great. Thanks for sticking around. Our next guest is Jonathon Johnson. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Doug.
You are a Marquette transplant. You used to live here. You live someplace else now. You're an author. You're a poet. I have one question for you. Do you have a fantasy football team?
No, but my university is actually in the playoffs for Division II NCAA, Eastern Washington University. So January
Go
7th.
Eastern Washington.
Yeah,
okay.
the Eagles, right.
Okay, there's a connection
Yeah.
then at least. Okay, we care about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good. Has nothing to do with my fantasy team.
But,
that's
well, I
okay.
want to ask you about your jacket. That's a great two guys in tweed. We're ready to talk about literature.
Okay, we need patches on our
That's
elbow.
right,
Isn't
yeah.
that right? Okay, we'll work on that. Well, listen, you, as I mentioned, you grew up in Marquette.
Yes.
Now you live in Eastern Washington, or go to Eastern Washington, work at Eastern Washington
Yes.
University. And what town is that in?
It's in Cheney, Spokane, kind of near the Idaho border.
Beautiful area.
Beautiful area.
A little bit similar to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Mountains, wolves, moose.
Yep. My question is this. You know, we have a certain passion for this area, people who live here.
Yeah.
And people who have lived here and then gone away have a different kind of passion. Can you explain that?
Yeah. For us, it's migratory. I find as a writer that one of the most useful things is new perspective. So to be here, to spend time around the things that we love, to spend time out at the island, to spend time with Lake Superior, the snow, and then to go away and contemplate it from a distance, let it sort of calm down, let the imagination answer it, and then you sort of have a partnership with the place. We're a little like geese. We migrate, but we do it in a trailblazer.
It's a different appreciation. So many times we see people who live here for a while, move away somewhere else, and they end up coming back.
Sure.
Because they've seen the rest of the world now, and they go, you know what, nothing beats Marquette and Central Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to try to get back, or is...
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, right now the pattern we have works real well for us. You know, we're like a lot of people.
Family in town.
Work
here.
out there, family here, a lot of time for art here. My wife's a photographer, a lot of time for her art here. Then when we're out there, we kind of hit it hard. I teach.
Yeah.
She's a social worker. Our daughter goes to school. And we come back here and rejuvenate. Our migrations.
That's a good way to work it. Now, you are an author. You have some published works here. You brought a couple along here. Your book here, Hannah and the Mountain. Can you explain what this is about?
Sure. This is a nonfiction memoir. My wife and I lived in a remote cabin on some family land in northern Idaho, a cabin we built, and we tried to start a family there, and it's about some of our struggles and hardship, building the cabin by hand. But it does have a lot of Marquette. Again, we come back, we touch base. I don't want to spoil anything in the book.
Okay, yeah.
It's got a lot of sad parts to it, and during one of those sad periods, we came back to Marquette. So just maybe a paragraph about what that was like.
I'd like to hear it.
So we were back in town, and you know when you're grieving a little bit, sometimes sleep is tough.
Yep.
This is about one of those nights. Some nights, when Amy does sleep, I walk. I walk the neighborhoods of my high school and college years, past bars I know well, past the King Coin laundromat on 3rd Street, the smell of moist, warm lint steam drifting down from the roof exhaust, the streets of town narrow with snow that tumbles back down the high banks after plows pass, their 6-foot-tall blades not high enough to toss all the fresh powder clear. Walking Marquette is like navigating a maze of trenches, the branches of oak trees and gables of houses above on the new, elevated surface of the world.
Captures it very well. You know, there are a lot of things in Marquette. You mentioned the smells, the odors, all those things that combine to make it what it is. And obviously, when you come back, those things are refreshed in your mind. It's got to be exciting to come back and visit.
Yeah, it's a place of sensation. It's a place of the senses, you know, water, earth, the forest, all this cold and snow. I'm a person who really loves the cold and snow. And material just seems to come up out of the woods. Just this morning, we were out at my in-laws' place, my wife's parents, and my wife's mom was telling about how in one day, early on this winter, the UPS driver, the mail truck driver, and the Mining Journal delivery driver all got stuck on their driveway on the same day. So that kind of material just comes out of the UP naturally.
And you have a fondness for Lake Superior.
That's right. Yeah, I keep a little boat stashed in a hidden place in the lower harbor. And when I finish my morning writing in the summer, ride my bike down to Phil's, and I rotate whitefish, trout, and salmon, the smoked salmon, take it out on the boat and row out, have my lunch, and then if the weather's calm and it's flat, I'll do a little writing actually out in the boat.
I think it's important for people like us who live here every day to hear your stories occasionally, to talk to people like you, or to read your work, to kind of regenerate our appreciation for this area, because sometimes we start to take it for granted. You know, we forget to go down and drive by the lake, or forget to take that trip around Presque Isle that we need to do every now and then, or climb Sugarloaf, or whatever it is. And it's great to hear someone like you kind of remind us of what we have here and to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Well, you don't get the days back. There are only so many days in a life.
Time is all we have.
There's not much you can do about how many days there are, but there is something you can do about the richness and fullness of them. And like a lot of the arts, what literature tries to do is to add more volume, to add more depth, and to add more awareness. And for me, Marquette brings out that awareness. Every artist has a muse.
Yeah.
For me, it's this place.
Oh, great. I think you've captured it here. Tell us how we can get a hold of your books, your book of poetry, and you have other books. How do people find them?
Well, I always love to give a plug to Snowbound. It's one of the greatest little bookstores out there. So Snowbound Books carries all of these. For those folks who may be out of town using the web, the university where I teach has a terrific website, ewumfa.com. That's ewumfa.com. But if you can, go down to Snowbound and read them at the Peter White Library, because they'll be home there.
Good plug for Peter White. Listen, I think anybody who wants to connect with the written word as far as what's going on in Marquette, you've done it here. Jonathon, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your time here in Marquette during the holidays. Hopefully you'll visit us when you come back again.
Thanks
Jonathon,
so much, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Yep.
If you're throwing a party, hosting a meeting, or planning a reunion, you'll have hungry mouths to feed. You can do it yourself or call Casa Calabria. The Casa caters to any size group or team. We'll provide fully prepared, large family-style orders of our most popular menu items. Pick it up, or better yet, we'll deliver. The best way to enjoy your next gathering is not in the kitchen. For a great event and even better food, call Casa Calabria.
It's just your style, Casa Calabria. We're Peninsula Bank.
The customer relationship and the direct contact with the people that work at the bank is still important to a lot of our customers. I think all of us at times want to get a question answered direct and find out exactly what needs to be done about certain issues or problems. That's where we really do a good job, because we have the long-term employees that have experienced all these issues and are familiar with all our products and services, and that's why Peninsula Bank's been around since 1887.
Plug for Thunder and Lighting, our production company, for all your television show production needs, called Thunder and Lighting Video Production. Okay. Our next guest is Pam Christensen. Pam is the library director from Peter White Public Library. Pam, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Do you have a fantasy football team?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Okay. So you're not familiar with the Viking, and we're playing in the champion. Okay. All right. We'll move on. We have something more important here. Pam, you guys just got a tremendous award. Tell us about that.
The Peter White Public Library was one of 5 libraries in the United States to receive a National Medal for Library Service from the Institute of Museum and Library Services in Washington, D.C.
And that deserves a round of applause. I mean, that is great. Really. That's outstanding, and I think it's well-deserved, too, because that's just a beautiful facility, well-run. Every time I go there, there are so many people doing so many different things. But let's talk a little bit about this award. You know, we had this thing on this show where I started out, I had this thing going where if you ever had your picture taken with somebody famous, it was called Brush with Fame. I want people to send in pictures. I had a picture of me with Governor Milliken and with a few idiots back in the college days. But I think you have taken the cake with this. Your picture with Michelle Obama, that is just incredible. What an experience that must have been.
It was so exciting for all of us. I think it was one of those things that you don't really think is going to happen until you're really up there on the stage.
Tell us about the whole experience of going to Washington and receiving this award.
Well, they had told us we'd be going in January or February, and then the opening was available at the White House. So they said, you'll be going to the White House and doing the ceremony last week. And Tony Eppensteiner, the president of our board, and Jane Ryan, who was our community advocate.
The other lady pictured
yes,
in the
Jane's
photo.
in the photo. We flew out last Wednesday, and the ceremony was on Friday. And there were 5 libraries and 5 museums honored.
Oh, that's just great. And once again, this is one of those awards, and I've joked about this before. Some of our awards and trophies we kind of purchased through different areas. This wasn't something that was bought by anybody. This was very well earned by the Peter White Public Library.
Yes, it was. We did prepare the application. There's an application process. And IMLS is very cagey about how many institutions apply. And I finally was able to wheedle it out of one of the people who reviewed some of the applications. And she said each year they get between 200 and 300 applications.
Oh, that's great.
So we figured maybe, there were 20 and 10 of us were picked.
Yeah.
Not such a big deal.
Yeah,
but it's very exciting. The award has been given since the 90s, and less than 100 institutions have received it.
That's great. I'm going to, when the library expansion took place a few years ago, there was the money was put together from that, and I think maybe other people in the community thought too, that's a lot of money to be putting into our library, especially when books are something that, are kind of, we're more into computer technology and all other ways of delivering information. But I'll tell you what, I think it's turned out to be money so well spent with what you're doing at the library. It's not just books and information now. You have so many programs going on. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there currently and maybe what we can see in the future.
Well, I think that we've become a community center.
Absolutely.
Where a lot of things in the community happen, from concerts, book discussion groups, author visits, youth theater, and we're very proud of that, and people are kind of amazed to realize we're planning our programming a year to 2 years out. Coming up this winter in February and March is our Midwinter Storytelling Festival. This will be the 3rd year we've done this. It's a festival that's geared towards families, and that's very popular. If people haven't stopped in lately, we have the Winter Wonderland Walk of Trees
That's
until
awesome.
the beginning of the year.
Definitely see that.
And this year we have 78 trees. That's a
beautiful.
record.
It is.
That is a record. And different community groups come together and decorate trees.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, anybody who thinks that's just a building with books in it needs to stop in and check out what you're doing, not only your resources, but your programs. And I would suggest visit the Peter White Public Library website for all that information.
The website is wonderful. We've really worked on developing that so that people can look there and find out what's going on. It's very helpful, and there are a lot of resources offered through the website also.
Great. Well, congratulations once again on this award. It makes us proud as a community, and you should be very proud as well. Thank you.
are.
Yeah.
I said I wish we could have brought all of Marquette with us to the White House.
Maybe next time. Okay. Pam Christensen, thank you.
What is it?
It's big, scary.
They're gone. Come on, we got you. Relax. You're all right.